Hey y'all, coming at you with another mid-gamer SSF video. This one, first of all, is not a league starter, and I cannot attest to its endgame viability. Honestly, it feels a bit weak in this scuffed minimum viable product standard league character I just threw together over a few hours. Luckily, I had this level 93 Pathfinder just lying around. Particularly with bossing, I wouldn't league start this because SSF thinking as usual need to go Abyss and Ritual. For Abyss, for crafting, omens, uniques, and the revamped Ritual, looks like you'll have to deal with up to 5 or 6 bosses at a time. So that could be quite difficult on this build, but I just had to get this idea out of my head because I gotta work and 0.5 is only a couple days away. So what's the big idea? Essentially, you run this unique talisman, Fear of the King, to generate glory. So this one generates glory every 2 seconds, up to 5. You can div this up to 5. In this case, we generate glory for Ancestral Cry. In our case, we're socketing it into Ferocious Roar so that you can use it in bear form. But you can have this separately and generate glory in an offhand and then swap to human form and run around. As Ancestral Cry procs, or you use Ancestral Cry, you become the embodiment of calm, and your steps become slams and deal damage. So you can essentially run around and kill things. Whereas other people I've seen run Druid or Warrior, for example, Skadoosh's Kitava, Balrog, Bear, I thought, what if we go Pathfinder? And we could just sprint around, and you cannot be knocked down while sprinting. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay, cue the footage. This is just a white T15 for testing. Again, I cannot attest to the endgame viability. Even though I know everyone is always thinking, oh, can this down Uber Arbiter? That's not the point of this. This is just a fun build idea off meta. Perhaps if you want to try doing something fun next league or later on in league, this will probably be my second character because I'm SSF and it requires a lot of uniques to get this going. Anyways, let me know if you've seen this before or if someone else has already done it. Don't think I've seen it on YouTube, nor in a quick online search, but I always want to give credit where credit is due. And this is not reverse chill tech. I just wanted to convert the fire to cold for the crunchy explosions. But there are many ways you can take this if you're interested. In this case, for more AoE, I just added Walking Calamity. And for bossing, I leaned into the Iron Grasp. So I settled on Oil Barrage. You can see here, so I procced the Walking Calamity. You had to wait a bit of time for the Ancestral Cry to generate the required glory. And now basically I'm just sprinting through the map, essentially doing nothing. I might have to redo my Walking Calamity timer when that drops off. Now I'm literally just sprinting. Things are dying and exploding from the Herald of Ice. There, my Walking Calamity's back up, so that helps a bit with AoE. Otherwise, I essentially just run around. Sprinting to the end, I'll talk a bit about how long you can get this going. I also wouldn't league start this because it is a bit finicky to maintain the buffs. I'm sure there's different ways of doing it, but in this case, it lasts about a minute and a half. And usually that's enough time to sprint to the end of a map. So this is, if you're stopping and going, it's a bit finicky, so I wouldn't do this doing Ritual and Abyss and stuff like that, but, it's a fun idea. And then for bossing, the idea was to stun the boss, generate power charges with Aleph Chimes, stun the boss with the slams and shred, and then just oil barrage him down with the 3 power charges that I have. And of course, again, there's many different ways you can do bossing, but this is just what I settled on for now. Well, unfortunately, the last bit that I recorded got corrupted, so I'm going to have to redo this again. Hopefully I don't forget anything, but going over the build again, this is not a build guide. This is not a league starter. This is just a kind of fun off-meta concept that you potentially could try in the future. I'm not going to league start this. I think it's way too risky. I'll probably try to go Oracle or Druid, totems potentially, maybe pilot my hybrid Rampage Oil Barrage build again. Check out JMac for Oil Barrage stuff, FYI. But going back to here, the Ascendancy, again, you take this node, cannot be heavy stunned while sprinting. At the end here, running Assault, and that pairs with the Ancestral Cry, so you can essentially sprint through the map and not fall down. This node is on the way, your speed is unaffected by slows, that's nice, you can run chilled ground maps, temp chains. Here, this was another important synergy with the Ascendancy, which I thought about. This Path of the Warrior allows you to allocate no passives starting from the warrior side as opposed to the ranger side over here. So we roll this way and get a bunch of strength and attack damage nodes. And then the final thing from the Ascendancy was this node here. Again, so I'm not getting much power from the node from the Ascendancy, but it's essentially build enabling and some utility. So this one here is Life of Flask effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. And I pair this with Shavron's Satchel, and that means your life recovery from flasks also applies to Energy Shield, and that means you can run a bigger life flask, whereas if you don't have this node, I believe you have to use a life flask with 20% instant recovery, and then that means the amount recovered, I think, is less. But anyways, this means that I just press that button. So I take this off my Energy Shield roller, put it on, I push the button, and it just recharges like much faster. So that's the kind of sustain for this build, which is nice considering Leech is being nerfed in the next patch, and ES and Leech is being nerfed together. And talking about strength stacking and attack-based builds, the big thing with that is running this unique body armor, Iron Grasp. This node here, this mod here, Iron Will, 1% increased spell damage per 2 strength. That pairs with Crown of Eyes, which means increases and reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks. On the body armor, also this secondary mod here, Iron Grip, 1% increased projectile attack damage per 2 strength. So that's why I was thinking about Oil Barrage for bossing. These nodes then, when your spell damage is also applying to attack damage, you then stack Rage, and you click this node. Every Rage also grants 2% increased spell damage, so it's kind of like double dipping in Rage. Actually, I just realized this should be on both weapon sets, because this should... So again, in my mapping demo, my sprinting around was not actually being affected by this pretty big increase to spell damage / attack damage. This again gets paired with Rage, so you spec a bunch of Rage here, Rage here, and Rage here. And each Rage is 1% more attack damage, so you get each Rage gives you 1% more attack damage, as well as all of the conversion from the spell damage from the Rage. And you then boost that further with Berserk. So this increases the Rage effect. So all of that combined, depending on how much Rage you get, it's kind of like 2, 3, 4 times the amount of damage from your baseline, sheet damage. This goes up to like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on how much Rage you have and how much other stuff you're stacking. Otherwise on the tree, take a bunch of strength, beef strength here. Second weapon set is for these big attack damage nodes, big area damage node here, bigger, generally running armor ES in this version because of strength stacking. You can also get this Timeless Jewel, Heroic Tragedy with the Verana type or seed. This converts this keystone to Black Scythe Training, and that gives you 1% increased energy shield per 2 strength. That's pretty common strength stacking. And then in this version, I just got a bunch of ES here. That's Mind Over Matter, just for a little more HP. I'm not actually using any mana. Again, stacking into armor while shapeshifted here. This node here, 3 armor per energy shield on equipped boots. This is, I believe, nerfed to 2 to 1 in the future. Okay, and then on weapon set 1, that's for glory generation. So here we have some increased glory generation. So that just increases the speed at which your Fear of the King is generating glory for these 2 skills here. So glory generation here, and then endurance charges here. So, and skill effect duration. So you spec into endurance charges and skill effect duration because you want this this Ancestral Cry to last a longer time. So this consumes all endurance charges to increase War Cry duration by 50% per charge, and quality increases that. The baseline duration is like 8, I believe, so now the baseline is 24.3. That's due to specking a skill effect duration here, here, and here. And then baseline, you have 3 endurance charges, here's another one, and here's 2 more, so that's 6. So that's, what, 24 seconds? Let's say it's 24 base times 6 times 70%. And that, for me, that works out to about 1.5 minutes, which is just enough time for me to sprint to the map boss. Now, again, it's not great for Ritual and Abyss because you have to start and stop, and it's a bit finicky. Just kind of letting these things build up glory. I'm sure there's different ways of doing it. Instead of converting fire to cold, you could just do straight fire, and you could build up the Ancestral Cry much better through igniting enemies. But it's a bit finicky just keeping those buffs up. So again, try this at your own discretion. And then in terms of the bossing, again, I just roll Oil Barrage. Check out JMax's videos for more and better in-depth Oil Barrage stuff, but I just decided to try Oil Barrage again, leaning into the Iron Grasp or Iron Grip here, 2%, 1% increased projectile attack damage per 2 strength. So that, again, just kind of double scaling the Oil Barrage damage. And I decided to go with this Fizz-based Magi Talisman because I just found, like, trying to kill bosses with cold-based stuff, sometimes you'd run into something with a high fire res, and it just kind of hard stopped me there, so I decided to pivot to this more Fizz-based bossing ability. And usually what I would do is to shred them. This builds up combo and helps to stun them because it's more physical based. So I'm trying to stun them and build up combo with shred to then generate power charges with Furious Slam. So again, more stun buildup. So stun, and then culmination 2. This allows this skill to build up combo, and then Aelith's Chimes, you expend that combo and generate power charges. So essentially I'm shredding, building combo, slam to get the power charges, and then Oil Barrage. Obviously that doesn't work here but check back at the other video. So that's just what I landed on for bossing. There's other ways of generating power charges. My Oracle Druid is much better at that. You have the Volt Protectorate, which gives you basically infinite power charges, so you can essentially Oil Barrage forever. Or there's other ways, generating power charges through infusions, through this node, gain a power charge when you consume an elemental infusion. Or other ways I've tried is, not this one, Lingering Illusion. This is fine too. This works, you can get this fairly early, I believe. Just dodging around, create illusions, let the boss hit those illusions, generate power charges, and then Oil Barrage. But I just, there's other ways of doing it. Representification with a kind of Profane Ritual. If you're mapping, you can try doing Sacrifice and Profane Ritual if you have enough Spirit, but you need Spirit on both weapon sets. But I just found this kind of synergize because I essentially need to, I wanted to stun or freeze the boss so that I could just Oil Barrage at will, and that just kind of paired well with this method of shredding to generate combo, and then slamming to stun, and then when the boss is stunned, then you can hit the boss with Oil Barrage. Anyways, that's all I can think about for now. Hope 0.5 is good for everyone. Pretty excited, looking forward to getting into all the endgame stuff and trying new builds as usual. That's it for now. Happy hunting and peace out.